Not too many people knew who Martin Rowinski was 3 years ago, but I've started doing podcast interviews. I've written articles. I wrote a book, and all those things really set you up as an authority and a leader in your space. People that have established authority in their industry.
Today on the show, I'm happy to have Martin Rowinski. He's the CEO of Boardsi. Boardsi is a modern recruiting company. So Martin, you've been in Inc. 5000 a couple times now. What is the current revenue of the business?
So publicly, I can announce 14 million in 2023.
And how many employees do you have now?
So we've grown from garage to, in 7 years, to 200, creeping up on 250 employees.
Amazing. So you founded in 2017.
Yep.
So has the journey been easy so far?
Oh yeah, smooth sailing, piece of cake. Let's do it again. God, no.
That brings us to the topic of resilience, right? And I know that's big for you in business.
Absolutely.
So what has been your journey in and working through the difficult times and getting to the next stage?
Yeah, I can write a book about my personal issues and resilience and lifetime entrepreneur. So I've definitely had a lot of failures and what I like to call stepping stones to success. One that I guess it's personal one, but obviously being an entrepreneur, anything that happens to you personally is going to affect your financial life and it's going to affect your corporate life. So during another startup, this is long before Boardsi, I lost my 7-year-old stepson, and it absolutely caused turmoil in our family. Both of my kids, my daughter and my son, obviously suffered. His brother, my other stepson, suffered. He was the youngest one in the family, died at an early age of 7, and it was an accident. And of course, me and my that time fiance trying to keep it together and keep the kids moving forward, and all kinds of crazy stuff was happening. And she's an entrepreneur as well. So juggling all of that and putting off our wedding, and then our friends not letting us put off the wedding, and they literally organized the entire thing. They were on a mission to make something good happen for us that year instead of just having that bad. But coming out of that, a parent should never lose a child. And if you can power through that, I think you can power through anything. So sorry not to start off with a downer, but it's reality, it's life, and that's what we deal with. So
How do you push forward and move past a major struggle in life like that?
I think everybody will have their different things that they can fall back to. I've always surrounded myself with positivity. I think positivity can get you through anything. And of course, we leaned on our faith very heavily. And at the same time, surrounding ourselves with friends that are not going to sit there and tell you, I know how you feel, because unless you've lost a child, you don't know how we feel. So don't say that. Friends that are honest with you, and they're there to just listen to you and support you and be there with you as you're going through it. But talking through it and just focusing on life and focusing on the 3 remaining kids and making sure that they're going through their life, doing good, fun things with them, letting them know, hey, life goes on. We have to power through this. He'll never be forgotten. We all have to move on with our lives. And I think that just day by day gets you through. But you truly never do forget an event like that, and never forget the person. And doesn't get easier, but you just have to move on.
And being a lifetime entrepreneur and founding these multiple companies, what actually inspired you to launch Boardsi?
Yeah, great question. I've done a lot of consulting in my life, and I've been part of great companies that one has gone public, one that got purchased by a publicly traded company, but I never financially benefited from those because I was simply a consultant that helped them put together everything that basically made them to that success. And so when I started looking at board opportunities or advisory roles where I can step in more as instead of a consultant, but actually step in and get some equity in the company so I can benefit along with the wins that I'm creating for the company. So that was my idea. And I started looking and I realized how hard it is to find a board position. So that's the idea of having an opportunity to create this middle gap and being the gap in between executives and companies. And basically, instead of me helping a handful of companies as a consultant. Now I have the opportunity of connecting and helping hundreds of companies. So it's been pretty awesome.
So you're actually building the advisory boards for companies and placing the right strategic thinkers there.
Yeah. So basically, we like to call ourselves, after the title of my book, the corporate matchmaker. So we have a company that will come to us and say, hey, we need two board members or two advisors or three. It's all case by case, how many they need. We go through the details of exactly who they're looking for, the type of an executive, what industry background. And then we go in our database of our executives that are members of Boardsi, and we sort through it. We'll put together 10, 20, 30, 40, and we review them together with the company. And the ones that they like, they give us thumbs up, and then we set up the interview for them.
So I want to know on both sides of this business. First of all, how does somebody become a board member with board?
Yeah. So not easy. Obviously, companies are going to look for success, somebody that's been there, done that. And then, of course, depends on what the company is looking for. Maybe it's a company that's 3 years away from going public and nobody on the board or none of the founding fathers have ever done it. So they want to bring in somebody that's taken a company public before that can provide their expertise and help them out. Obviously, they'll be searching for somebody that has done that. So the more experience you have, the more qualified board member you're going to be. Of course, education is also a great tool. There's plenty of courses out there. And we've watched the courses. Harvard has a bunch of them for board of directors courses, cybersecurity. So that was one of our initiatives this year, is to launch our own course for our members, which we did. So we have 3 courses now, and a 4th one probably less than 30 days away from hitting our platforms. We're reinvesting money in creating these educational courses. The other thing that really helps executives in accomplishing on getting a board seat is creating a leadership authority. This podcast is a perfect example, right? Not too many people knew who Martin Rowinski was 3 years ago, but I've started doing podcast interviews. I've written articles. I wrote a book, and all those things really set you up as an authority and a leader in your space. So again, to encourage that, and from our findings that we found, people that have established authority in their industry, we were always get a thumbs up from our company saying, yeah, that's the person I want to interview, versus another one that on paper looks very similar. But why did they not get it? Is because they didn't have the authority in the space. So we put together a partnership with another company that's a leadership magazine, online magazine, and we're able to publish articles and biographies of our executives on that magazine to really get them featured and get them exposed to the world.
If any of our listeners wanted to learn how to either find a board member with Boardsi or become a board member in your database, how could they do so?
Really easy, actually. If you go to our website, boardsi.com, boardsi.com, you'll come on the very front. You can read the whole page, but on the very front page, there's a choice of executive or for companies. So if you're a company looking for executives, you want to go to the companies page, schedule an appointment. If you're an executive, you go to executive page and schedule an appointment. And then you'll get in touch with our team. We make it
Make
pretty
sure
easy.
make sure to check it out, everybody. And thank you, Martin, for coming on the show, and everybody for listening to another episode of Failing to Success. If you like the show, make sure to subscribe. I'm your host, Chad Galecki, and we'll see you next time.